and welcome to the League. My name is Elizabeth Busch and I'll be your host for tonight's show. As part of the League's commitment to the environment, every joke told tonight will be carbon neutral. On tonight's show, we'll be looking at climate change, what it is, why it's happening, and if it won't occur until after I'm dead, do I actually have to care about it? We'll look at what science says, and if we don't like what they say, we'll just pay some other scientists to say something different. But first, bushfires. Are the increase in severity and frequency related to climate change, or are arson, random chance, and dragons a more likely cause? To discuss bushfires, we turn to our correspondent for more.
Oh, shoot, right. Hi Liz, I'm sorry, but this is not a good time right now.
Not again, this is the third time you tried to cancel on us. I don't care if you're going through a divorce.
Fire? It's a fire? My house is on fire.
Hey, don't interrupt. There's no need to get heated.
Elizabeth, could you please call someone to help me?
Sorry, Jai, can't. Fire's more of a state responsibility anyway.
You have tons of crew. Couldn't you at least call the fire department? I don't have my phone.
Oh, I have an idea. Why don't we keep going with the interview?
My house is on fucking fire!
All the better for the theme of tonight. Good thinking, Jai. It's that kind of commitment and dedication to the craft that we here at the League appreciate.
I'm losing everything! My worldly possessions, my photos!
If you haven't uploaded all your photos to the cloud by now, I don't even know what to say. Look, at least you've got your life to be grateful for.
Oh, fuck! Grandma's upstairs. Shit!
Huh. You do all you can to help and you get no thanks in return. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to fire them. So unprofessional.
We all need to make sacrifices this drought season. By installing a water-saving shower head, Aussie households can save up to 73,000 litres of water per year. That's the same as running Adani's Carmichael mine for 3.1 seconds.
It's coming to that time of year where Prime Minister Scott Morrison gets overwhelmed by the fire season and takes his annual summer holiday. To find out where he'll be vacationing this year, we're joined by his PA, Ash Letterburn. Hello, Ash.
Hello, Elizabeth.
So, has the Prime Minister figured out where he'll be hiding from responsibility this year?
Let me be clear. The Prime Minister's vacation time has nothing to do with hiding from his responsibilities. They have been booked way in advance.
And what dates are they booked for?
We don't know. The fires haven't started yet.
Last year, the Prime Minister holidayed in Hawaii while Australia was being decimated by bushfires. However, due to current events, he won't be able to travel overseas this time.
No, thanks to coronavirus, Mr. Morrison will be vacationing a little closer to home this year.
Has your department decided where?
This year we've settled on the Bega Valley. Good people, great local wine, and terrible internet after Labor failed to roll out the NBN. He'll basically be uncontactable.
Are you sure the Prime Minister will be welcome there? The 2019 bushfires burned 60% of the Bega Valley, including 450 homes.
It did?
Yes, it was on the news.
Well, actually, it turns out he can't go to Bega Valley anyway. He's already booked in for vacation in beautiful, bushfire-free Brisbane.
And he'd be welcome there?
Absolutely. They love the Prime Minister in Queensland.
Well, the state Liberal Party just lost the election by a landslide. Many people are blaming that on the Prime Minister's unpopularity having a toxic effect on the ballot.
Oh, did I say Brisbane? I meant to say Victoria's beautiful. Oh, what the hell did he do there?
He abandoned the state entirely during the coronavirus second wave.
He'll be climbing Uluru.
Nope.
Crossing the vast and open borders of WA. Kirribilli. He'll be vacationing in beautiful Kirribilli.
Well, Kirribilli is nice with its state-of-the-art climate control. Will his wife enjoy having him home?
Well, I bloody hope so after all this effort.
Ash Letterburn, thank you for your time. And here now, a word from our most beloved and richest sponsors.
The 2019 bushfires were a bloody ruckus, weren't they? Millions of animals perished, millions of hectares of native fauna lost, and millions of donated dollars being caught up in the administrative costs of charities supposedly helping out. But as people ran as far away as they could, a shining figure gave us belief that there are Aussies out there willing to literally leap through fire to help out. Tony Doherty, a true blue Aussie queen. But how could we ever hope to be like that hardcore koala-saving boss-ass bitch Tony? Well, hope no longer. With our brand new line of undergarments for women needing a little extra support in times of crisis, introducing the revolutionary koala lingerie. Unlike your standard Kmart bra, this comes with sewn-in fire-resistant padding and hand-stitched foliage, so the little fella you pull from the flames will have something to nibble on as you sprint to safety. Our koala lingerie is also free from metal underwiring, so it won't repeatedly stab you in the ribs like a little claw hanging on for dear life. We'll leave that to the koalas. Our koala lingerie comes in every size for every shape, and it's even eucalyptus scented. Koala fresh. So, whether you're defending your family home from incoming flames, carrying defenceless animals to safety, or slapping away the pasty hand of a grabby Prime Minister, make a statement. Tag us online with the hashtag #PushUpTheGumNuts. Koala lingerie, a marsupial undergarment, now available at your local fire station.
What a product. Now, from one word from our sponsors to another word from our sponsors. We'll see you after the ad break. Welcome back. This segment of The Leak is brought to you by Denialite, the perfect product to help you live in denial of our collapsing environment. Denialite, the only product endorsed by God.
I've done no such thing.
Ah! My brain! Denialite, the only product endorsed by God. Climate policy in Australia has become blunted due to a culture war that has bled into many aspects of public policy. Here to explain this impasse is Coalition spokesperson for bad faith poisoning of public discourse, Senator Cortland Meadows. If the Coalition continues to be re-elected, one might assume that your political aisle has won the climate debate. If so, isn't it time to find some common ground?
No. There are many fronts in a culture war. Getting the public to turn against established science is the surest way possible to protect conservative values. And there are so many battlefields to be found in science.
What battlefields do you mean?
Take zoology. Why are we wasting precious money on studying animals when some scientist is just going to use it as further evidence that my great-grandfather was a monkey? We could just clear their habitat, turn them into coats and use their land to make money instead. This is why we've launched a campaign to warn the public that koalas, wallabies and alike are coming to steal your jobs while living on welfare.
No one's going to believe that. It's absurd.
Worked with refugees, didn't it?
Ugh.
It's simple psychology, really. Speaking of which, that's another field we'll be taking a bat to. Bats accept jobs at $1.50 an hour. Money, not mammals.
Wait, psychology?
Well, we can't have people believing their parents messed them up. Bad for the nuclear family, the bedrock of Western civilization.
What would you propose as an alternative?
Well, phrenology, for one thing. You know, the structure of your skull is far more likely to be the cause of your problems than your parents. You know, go to confession, get your palm read, submit to an exorcism. Do it for Australia.
None of those things actually do anything, though. They just give the appearance of doing something while doing nothing.
Which is the most important thing for government, to look like you're doing something.
This seems rather fanatical. You'd rather people not get help so you can maintain power through saber rattling?
Elizabeth, Liz. Top conservative witch doctors have calculated that if we let the culture get more progressive by even 2 degrees, it's extinction for everything we as conservatives hold dear. Trickle-down economics, male breadwinners, strict gender roles. All of these things are at risk of being submerged by rising progressive attitudes.
Did you just use a climate change analogy?
Oh dear. Guess we'll have to get rid of analogies too. Bye-bye.
Signs. In the past, they've been used to tell us many things, like when to turn at an intersection, if a house is for lease, or when the sales clerk at the adult bookstore will be back in 15 minutes. However, a younger generation is now utilising this ancient form of communication in new and creative ways. Joining us tonight on The Leak is 17-year-old art and politics student, captain of the debating team, and author of the ebook, If Y'all Don't Get Your Shit Together, We're All Gonna Melt, River Iceberg. Good evening, River.
Good morning, Mrs. Busch.
Please, call me Elizabeth. Now, 17 is quite late to be getting into climate activism. So tell us, what got you into sign-based protesting?
My art teacher, Miss Marsh, got us to make rally signs that she could use at a climate protest she was attending.
And here's a photo of one of the graphics you created.
I made this with acrylic paint and cardboard that was left over from the school fete. The words koala bear, they're a play on words. We're learning about puns in English.
So, I guess you could say this was a class act.
I see what you did there. Mrs. Marsh gave me an A+ for this one.
Very cool work, River.
No, it's not cool, Miss Busch.
I'm not a teacher. You don't have to call me Miss Busch.
A recent study by the World Weather Attribution has found that global warming has increased the risk of Australian bushfires by more than 30%. And we must save humanity and all the world's creatures now.
Your penchant for sign craft has received international attention on Instagram. You've inspired many young artists to get into sign making and rally-based protesting. Here is another one of your pieces that was recently featured by the rock band Haim.
This was based on a message I tweeted.
You fuck the don't with nature?
No, Miss Busch. It says don't fuck with Mother Nature.
Please, stop calling me Miss Busch. It makes me feel so old.
Sorry.
Now, you're not without your fair share of critics. This sign you recently made has stirred up a lot of controversy.
My magnum opus. It was inspired by my speech in Canberra, and it's also the title of my upcoming book. Sometimes we've just got to get straight to the point.
Speaking of the Prime Minister, he recently responded to your speech, saying, "We've got to let kids be kids." What do you say in response to this?
Chill, ScoMo. Chill. It's time for you to grow up and stop ignoring the signs.
Thank you for joining us tonight, River.
Thank you for having me, Miss Busch.
I'm not a bloody
We all need to do our bit. If just 25 million Australian households were shot into space, we'd be able to offset the 180 million tonnes of carbon dioxide that BHP Billiton releases every year.
A new poll from the Australia Institute has revealed that 4 out of 5 Australians now care about climate change. However, Prime Minister Scott Morrison continues to run an agenda that ignores both scientific and public concern. Joining us here tonight to explain this tactic is Charlie Novote, a former PA for Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Good evening, Charlie. Welcome to The Leak.
Thank you for having me, Elizabeth.
Charlie, in your opinion, how is the Prime Minister able to run a parliamentary agenda so at odds with the will of the public without receiving significant blowback?
Well, he's learned from the best, Elizabeth.
Tina Turner?
No, Tony Abbott.
Well, certainly the former Prime Minister aggressively denied climate change, even removing the Science Ministry from his cabinet to avoid the subject. But it all still seems less theatrical than bringing a lump of coal into Parliament.
Yeah, absolutely, spot on. Morrison's really upped the game since Abbott left Parliament, just building on what he learnt from the Abbott government's stance on gay marriage, just makes us all proud.
Really? Because Abbott's electorate of Warringah voted 75% yes on the plebiscite, one of the highest in Australia.
Correct.
And then these same people voted him out of his seat in the next federal election.
Exactly. This man was able to establish the government's agenda even though his entire electorate opposed it. Talk about brass ones,
I'm still not quite following you.
Well, think about it this way. Scott Morrison is a climate change denier, But if everyone agreed with him, he wouldn't be denying anything. And that actually makes the Prime Minister analogous with everybody's favourite character from the Bible, Peter.
The apostle who denied Jesus?
Yes, and just like Peter, who denied the man who was about to be beaten and nailed to a cross, our brave leader is denying the citizens who are about to be living underwater because of climate change, which of course doesn't exist.
But how does Morrison expect to win the next election if he campaigns so aggressively in the opposition to the public concern?
Well, simple. He'll just say Labor will raise taxes.
And we're out of time, Charlie No-Vote. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Elizabeth.
We'll have more on the league after these words from our sponsors, who, fingers crossed, are helping instead of hurting the environment. Welcome back to the league, and we're receiving breaking news right now that Disney is planning to delay the release of the live-action Little Mermaid movie to 2025, believing that by then, more people can relate to the idea of living under the sea. And now for some lighter news. An alarming new trend has spread across the world in the high school education system. Our correspondent has more.
While on the whole, teachers have unprecedented job security at the moment, lest we have to take care of our own children, there's one type of teacher bucking the trend: career counsellors. They're losing their jobs in the thousands in accordance to the wishes of students and parents.
What's the point in planning for the future when the future doesn't even exist? I live in the bush. It's like it's a few years tops before the fire has turned everything into a wasteland. I just can't see myself having any kind of career outside of survival. So what's the point of taking an aptitude test?
Our PTA is in full agreement. Schools should be spending any additional resources to ensure our students can survive and thrive in the world. Or what's left of it.
Maybe at one time that role fell to St Maurice's career counsellor, Mr Stevens, but now principals are looking a little further afield.
Yeah, well, it's good to get our kids out into the fields and have the essential knowledge and tools to grow vegetables on a sustenance level. That is, before or during the mass lootings that will occur when our national supermarkets are bare.
I teach them 5 different combat styles, everything from Krav Maga to a technique I've created called ball kicking. It's fast and effective. Even against the elderly, you need to know how to hit those vital points quickly because everyone will be ready to kill. Kill for what? Fresh water. But not everyone is happy about these changes. I've been spending so much time farming and fighting that I'll never be able to take over an emerald mine and use that money to finance a startup and then take my employees' ideas as my own and become the coolest anime in Silicon Valley. It's definitely for the best.
Oh, kids these days, they don't get it, you know. It's so odd if it's a bit colder. You know, there's a big fire at the start of the year. That's not global warming, though. You know, it's just the usual El Niño, right? You know. But for these lefties to have ended my position over such poppycock, well, it's an outrage.
Well, actually, if we're heading into environmental collapse, why do I need to bother with school at all?
I don't use maths even now, kids, so I can't answer that. Back to you, Elizabeth.
With the projected impacts of climate change set to wreak havoc on our agriculture, energy and tourism industries, there is a lot of cause for economic pessimism. Not so according to the Institute of Public Affairs, who have just released a white paper titled Making Lemonade Without Lemons because the lemons have all rotted away and now there is no more lemons because lemons are now extinct. Here to explain their position is IPA policy analyst Ivory Blanc.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Ivory, most people would say that the total collapse of Australia's environment would be a bad thing. However, your group is claiming that this will in fact be a good thing for the economy.
Yes, we are, Elizabeth. As we all know, a basic element of economics is scarcity. So supply decreases, the price increases. Think of it this way, a person dying of hunger is going to pay more for a meal and baby, the planet is dying.
Wait, are you saying that destruction is a good thing because we can charge people that are affected by it more?
Not only is it a good thing, that's how capitalism works. While everyone else lost money during the pandemic, billionaires increased their wealth by 27%, and climate change is like COVID for planet Earth.
But if everyone is scrambling to survive, why would I exploit my neighbours by jacking up the prices of essential items?
Poor simple Elizabeth. One person's exploitation is another's free market economy.
It's unethical.
If it was unethical, people would be losing money, not making money, Elizabeth.
But how will people make money if jobs have been wiped out by environmental disasters?
There'll be more jobs.
How is that even possible?
Death, Elizabeth. Dead people can't work, which means job openings are plenty. The opportunities for jobs are astronomical as the projected loss of life from the fire, floods and collapsed food chains. Oh, the death, Elizabeth. The sweet, money-making death.
That's just ghastly.
And there'll be no unions. Businesses will be free to innovate, and Joe Ossie won't have to worry about losing his job down at the Gasmark manufacturing plant.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say before we ban you from the studio?
Think of all the new industries. Subterranean bunker maintenance, organ trafficking, militias.
Thank you for your time. Up next,
Eugenics.
we have a gardening show.
Someone has to purify the bloodlines. The bloodlines, Elizabeth!
G'day. Hope you survived the ad break. Subsistence farming is crucial for survival in the age of extreme food scarcity. Ensuring your crops are pollinated can make the difference between achieving baseline nutrition or having to consume your mother slowly during the nuclear winter. Where was I? Oh yeah. Bees. Now, you gotta have them if you want to pollinate those crops. So on today's show, I am here to teach you how to use the few remaining bees alive in the world today to keep your crops alive. First, you're gonna need a hive. One of those can be stolen from any Bunnings that hasn't been seized by the honey tyrant Ward Blood Flood. You want a good Bunnings, not one of those Bunnings that has human remains out the front as a mural style decoration. Next, follow these tips to ensure the survival of your hive. Surround the perimeter of your property with bear traps. Don't be fooled by the name. They're not for catching bears, they're for catching flesh pirates. Some people recommend landmines, but that will send a corpse flying in all directions, and that's just a waste of good meat. A bear trap will keep the corpse intact. Yep, one of them babies goes off and you've got enough meat for the next 6 Sunday roasts. Now, when you're cooking fresh pirate flesh, it's important to remember
We wasted our ability to time travel on that. Anyways, for our final segment tonight, a special treat for any 90s kids out there, or any Ted Turner superfans. It is my honour to introduce the one, the only, Captain Planet. Welcome to the Leak Captain Planet.
God damn it, better. Good.
Captain Planet?
Oh, yeah, good. I love you.
Sorry everyone, it seems we crossed over the apartment of an extremely depressed old man. We'll get to the real Captain Planet in a moment.
Nah, it's me, kids. But I got demoted. It's a planet, you know?
Are you okay, Captain? I mean, Lieutenant Planet?
Everything's fucking wonderful. Yeah, bushfires are getting worse. Antarctica is shrinking. And there was a recent BuzzFeed article naming the top 10 sexiest cartoon characters from the 90s. And I didn't get mentioned. I was out to Barney the dinosaur. He's not even a fucking cartoon character. Purple fuck. But, yeah. Bottle delivers now. Woo! Woo! Oh, yeah. With all your powers combined. Woo! I am Capitan Liquorland. Whoa!
I mean, things have been getting worse, but surely there's still hope out there. What about Greta Thunberg?
Don't even get me started on Greta Thunberg. Ooh.
You don't like Greta?
Nah. Tried to be recruiting her to be a Planeteer last year.
And she wasn't interested?
Not only was she not interested, she didn't know who I was. I tried to tell her and she just shrugged and said she didn't watch classic television. She doesn't watch classic television. Said it like that. Classic.
I'm sorry.
I'm so old. I'm so old.
Oh, speaking of the Planeteers, have you heard from any of your old crew recently?
Nah! Fucking sellouts. Most of them pawn their rings, pay the rent, and have blocked me because I'm too political on Facebook. It's all over.
Who knows? There's been a real resurgence of nostalgic 90s shows lately. I mean, like Will and Grace, Murphy Brown, the Hey Dad reunion. Surely Captain Planet can make a comeback.
Get in there.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. I want to thank our guests, Mr. Planet.
That's Lieutenant Planet! But I used to be a captain. I used to be a captain! Captain Planet. He's a hero! Take pollution down to zero. My heart. Someone call me.
Well, that just about does it for tonight. Thank you to all our guests and our correspondents, as well as a little place I like to call Planet Earth. Sure, it smells and there's way too many British people, but it's all we've got, so we better take care of it. At least till we colonise Mars, then we can trash it. You know. Good night.